fam. Welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze because we know and understand and believe, seriously, that some new shit needs to be brought forth into the world because all these current systems that we are living under are beyond unacceptable. They are inhumane, okay? And some of this shit cannot be reformed. It must actually be burned with flame. And that is why we were here. I'm so glad to see you all in the building today. Who else we got in checking in with us? Let me look. We got 40J Blaze. What's going on? We got my good sis Anna Hart in the building. Of course, we got my bruv Lewis Kang, Valley Girls. Hello, niece. What's going on, Dawn? Hello, Afraid Not. Shirley, what's up, Naptown? Indiana, come through. Who else we got up in here? Courtney, of course. The boss, the stallion. So y'all know who she is. Say her name, Courtney, the SLP. Damien is here, Stoner Loner, Sugar Booger. Hi, Sugar Booger. I don't think I said what's up to you in a while, good sis. I'm so excited that you all are here. And of course, my bruv Chuck Diesel, my other niece Alicia is in here. Tyler's in here. We got a gang. We got a gang for y'all today. I'm so excited you all are here. We have a fantastic show for you today. First of all, y'all boy, Joseph Robinette Biden. Joe Biden had the audacity to stand up this week and fix his face to say to Amazon, we're coming for you. Are we now? Who is the we in the we are coming for you here, Amazon? Now, you guys, in typical Democrat fashion, the Democrats are out here trying to take credit for a worker-led movement, for a black-led movement. Of course, the victory of the unionization of the Staten Island location of the Amazon warehouse there, the formation of the Amazon labor union was a huge deal. And Biden offered up the creation of a White House task force on workers and organizing that he created last year. And we're actually going to look at that, actually, because some of the recommendations made by this task force have yet to be implemented by the Biden administration. And it's very rich that the Biden administration is like, yeah, union strong. Yes, and look at what we did against Amazon when they are not holding up their end of the bargain. Shocker, shocker, shocker. In other union news, I want us to get updated. Number one, more Starbucks locations have voted to accept the union. Big deal, BFD there. But the young woman who we talked about on Tuesday, the 19-year-old Starbucks partner and organizer who was fired by the company the day before her store was set to begin voting on the union. We have an update about Layla Dalton, and it's important, guys, that we pay attention, number one, to the ways in which organizers are retaliated against. This is very common practice for those who are trying to organize their co-workers to be retaliated against, to be fired, to have a whole bunch of bullshit cast upon their performance, right? None of what the job wasn't worried about their performance at all until they began organizing. Now it's all kinds of problems. When nigga, you done called out without cause and you this and you that. It's like, okay, nigga, we got it. Speaking, that's some shit that the Biden administration could get with, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about has to do with the fact that we are in a sixth wave of COVID-19. Now, I know you're not hearing about this on the news, right? At least not framed that way. What you're hearing is all the Congress people and all the people who have attended events recently in Washington, D.C., oh, this senator has come up positive with COVID. Nancy Pelosi is positive with COVID. But you're not hearing that COVID is out here running the streets unchecked once again. And it is the American government's, I guess, apparent public health position that it is not necessary for the public to be informed about the status of COVID, the rate of new infections, the rate of hospitalizations, and in some states, guys, they are even reclassifying who has actually died from COVID. There is a concerted effort here to cover up the ongoing destruction. I don't know what else to call it. The ongoing destruction of this virus. Because even if people survive COVID, which, by the way, killed over 1 million people in the United States by itself, even if you survive, we are seeing more and more studies come out that indicate that post-COVID infection, you are at a significantly increased risk for a number of very serious medical conditions, okay? And it is absolutely irresponsible for the US government to let everybody, or as many people as possible, contract COVID when we still do not have a complete understanding of what the long-term effects are on adults and on kids. As we lift all the mitigation mandates across the country, there is that. But the first thing I wanted to start off with, guys, has to do with the story that I'm going to imagine that you guys are seeing popping up in your local news headlines, and maybe the national cable news have even addressed this. But this is just a real quick thing I want us to look at, to just highlight the ways in which media covers up for police incompetency and will always do its part to deflect blame from police. Have you seen this story? Let's pop up that A1 there, Tunde. So this is the headline from the Washington Post. And because this is a local story, I'll call it that, with national implications, it's being covered interestingly here in the DC area. So let me read it to you, this headline. It says, 2 men accused of posing as federal officers to get near Secret Service. So what happened? I think this happened yesterday morning or this morning. It had to happen yesterday morning, actually. So at an apartment building in Southeast DC, the FBI executed a raid. This was Wednesday, according to the Washington Post. They arrested 2 men charged with impersonating federal law enforcement officers in an investigation that has placed 4 U.S. Secret Service members on leave. Now, that sentence is a very interesting way to bury the lead, as we say in the journalisms. So, federal authorities have accused Ariane, oh man, that it's multisyllabic, and so I have some difficulties. Tahirizad and Haider Ali of obtaining handguns, rifles, and other materials to pose as Department of Homeland Security employees. Now, I'm really, anyway, I'll get to that in a second. They said the men used the guys to get closer to members of federal law enforcement and the defense community, including a U.S. Secret Service agent assigned to the First Lady's protective detail, okay? What is interesting about this, the way it's being reported, is that these 2 men, one aged 40, one aged 36, that they were impersonating federal law enforcement, but they have not been clear about how they have done that beyond having articles of clothing that had Secret Service emblems on that, right? So there's that. That's one part. The other part of what these guys are accused of doing is compromising. I have yet to see one news agency report that 4 Secret Service agents have been compromised by 2 men. What I think, there's a number of interesting things about this story, about what's being reported, what's not being reported, and the way that it's being framed. Because the framing of it as these 2 men were arrested for impersonating federal officers, no, baby, the headline needs to read, 4 Secret Service officers have been compromised with iPhones and promises of other gifts. And that, to me, says a whole lot about the American intelligence and defense community if Secret Service agents can be compromised with iPhones, okay? I think this case is actually going to fall apart, because from the details that they have released so far, beyond these Bamas owning some guns, which they might actually go down for gun possession, because gun laws in the District of Columbia are extremely strict. They might go down for that, but I can't see how they're going down for impersonating federal officers. By the way, they even had one Secret Service agent, that they had put him up in an apartment. Okay, there's going to be some interesting things that come out this, because it's also being reported that these gentlemen were in possession of passports that had visa stamps. This is critical. Visa stamps from Iran and Pakistan. But what they did not say is what kind of passports were held by these gentlemen. They didn't say they held Iranian passports. They didn't say they held Pakistani passports. They said that they held passports with visa stamps from Iran and Pakistan. So I'm curious as to what nationality these gentlemen are. And I want to know why the national media is not reporting upon this, as Secret Service agents, including one on First Lady Jill Biden's security detail, have been compromised by, at minimum, foreign nationals, right? These guys are probably intelligence agents from where I can't even begin to speculate. But they had got real chummy with Department of Homeland Security and other members of the Secret Service who happen to live in this particular building. And on the local news coverage that I saw, I think it was actually Fox 5 this morning, they actually spoke to one of the residents of the building, and I think it was Bob Barnard, who reported that also found amongst these two men's belongings happened to be a binder with the name and information. I'm not sure specifically what kind of information, but the name of everyone who lived in that apartment building in Southeast. These men were in possession of that. So let's just be clear here. Law enforcement ain't shit. You can apparently buy off Jill Biden's Secret Service agent with promises of an apartment and a brand new iPhone 13 Pro. And the news is going to report it as two men arrested for impersonating federal agents. I just want us to just be watching the media and the way that they cover things and the way that they frame things and what they say, and most importantly, what they don't say. I thought you guys would find that kind of funny because I am laughing. So be sure, correct the people. What's going on, Latif? Hi, sweetie. Hey, Vesper X. Hey. I'm glad to see you guys. Come on in. And listen, guys. Fuck what you heard. I've told y'all this before. We are absolutely still indoor masking over here at Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Now, I don't know what they do in other places. But over here, we still scared of COVID. I don't give a fuck. I do not give a fuck. And let's actually head on over there, guys, because what's not being reported in mainstream American media is that the BA2 variant is now the dominant variant amongst new COVID cases. But the problem is, we don't know how many new COVID cases there are because states and municipalities and the CDC are not reporting the numbers in the same sort of ways that they had been earlier in the pandemic. In fact, because of the lagging data and the diminished testing capacity, oh, by the way, can't get no more free tests. The free test, that's done. That's over with. Finito. And if you wanted a new booster, or if you have not even yet been vaccinated, that's going to run you about $50 and some change, according to CVS, at least in Maryland. I'm curious whether or not that varies state to state. I would imagine it would probably be pretty uniform. But if it's less than $50 in where the state in which you reside, I'd like to know that. Please let me know. But guys, we are in a sixth wave. And I am not, let me just be clear. I think y'all know this. I'm not a virologist, nor am I an epidemiologist. So, I mean, you could quote me if you want to, but you guys know I am not an expert. Let's pop up B1 for me, Tunde, if you could. So I am a little concerned as someone who lives in the DC metro area because what's being reported by local health agencies in DC, in Maryland and Virginia, is that COVID transmission is low, that we are in the green transmission-wise. Well, apparently not on Capitol Hill because motherfuckers is popping up with COVID left and right. This is from Jonathan Reiner, who is the professor of medicine and surgery at George Washington Hospital here in the district. Jonathan Reiner tweeted, 37 people have now contracted COVID following the gridiron dinner. This illustrates how how massively transmissible BA2 is and how much of a mistake it was to summarily drop all mitigation while we're still in the pandemic phase of this virus. And Dr. Reiner went on to say in his thread that it is dangerous not to be masking indoors when in public settings right now. If you think that for reasons, just because it has fallen out of the news cycle and we're not getting daily or even weekly updates from Dr. Fauci and Dr. Rochelle Walensky from the CDC anymore, that COVID is not a big deal. And I have to tell you that this is wrong-headed and very dangerous messaging that we are getting from the American government. And not only from the government, credit to Dr. Reiner from GW Hospital, but unfortunately, the medical community is not in unison when it comes to the risk that people are still dealing with in this pandemic. If you could pop up B2 for me, Tunde. Dr. Leanna Wen. I'm telling you how the mighty have fallen. Dr. Leanna Wen used to be the top health official for the city of Baltimore. And I have to tell you, when she was operating in that capacity as Baltimore City's top health official, I thought she was pretty competent. She was telling people, trying to encourage the use of Naxalone and Narcan to prevent overdoses. Like, she seemed like a person who actually had a somewhat serious approach to public health. But this is what she wrote. Now, the Gridiron Dinner was probably a COVID-19 super spreader event, but events like this should still go on. This is our new normal, and that's based on individuals being thoughtful about their own risks and the risks they pose to others. And she goes on in her opinion piece in the Washington Post, and she encourages the individual use of masks, the individual right, I suppose, to go get vaccinated. And if you're immunocompromised, then you should get your fourth booster and this, that, and the third, or second booster at this point, blah, blah, blah. But she makes no mention. All of this is shifting to personal responsibility, right? State and federal governments apparently have no duty to inform the public about the rates of new COVID infection, whether or not we have new variants present circulating right now in the population. And this to me is very troubling, okay? Because for a number of reasons. COVID is still killing people who are vaxxed and boosted, okay? COVID is absolutely also still killing people who are unvaccinated. The bottom line is, even though we are 2+ years into this pandemic, we still do not have a complete understanding of this virus and the long-term effects of this virus. And if that wasn't enough, if our ignorance to all of this wasn't enough, the hubris, the arrogance, the presumptiveness of the United States government, the Biden administration, the Congress that is seated right now, allowed federal COVID funds to expire. Okay, so now Americans who don't have insurance cannot just go get tested without cost. By the way, how much are those COVID tests running to get them processed through the lab and back? Is it $125, $150? It's not cheap. It's not cheap. And that's for one. Imagine you got a family of 4 or 5 and one person you suspect has COVID. You got to get the whole family tested. What if insurance is not available? This is several $100s, y'all. And if you're talking about vaccination costs as well, it can add up very quickly. But more troubling than that, the state and federal government does not even want you to know what the level of risk is in your area. They don't want you to have as an informed, complete view of it as they once did. And this is proof positive in how some states are actually reclassifying what they call COVID patients, or even reclassifying what they deem are COVID deaths. And if a person who may have had COVID and ended up dying from COVID, if they don't fit into this very narrow sort of new standard, then that death is not even going to be counted as someone who died from COVID. Troubling. I want you guys to take a look at this piece from WMUR TV. That's in Massachusetts, I believe. The Bay State. Massachusetts is the Bay State. Yes, guys. Because this anchor kept saying the Bay State. And I'm like, where's that? Massachusetts. First colony. Piece of shit. Anyway, shout out to Massachusetts. We don't have no beef with Massachusetts, I guess, as individuals. But as the first colony, Yeah, anyway, so let's take a look at this package, guys, because Massachusetts and New Hampshire is about to be playing real funny with these COVID numbers. And you guys will see what I mean. Let's take a look.
An interesting policy change to tell you about down in the Bay State tonight. Total COVID-19 deaths in Massachusetts are dropping by 15% because the state is changing its criteria. Now, the Bay State still including anyone who had COVID listed as a direct cause of death on their death certificate. Also, anyone who had a COVID diagnosis 30 days before their death are now counted. That used to be, though, a 60-day window. The change means that COVID deaths in the state will drop by 3,700 or about 15%.
Over time, our approach proved to be too expansive and led to a significant overcount of deaths in Massachusetts. People who had gotten COVID earlier in 2020 and died for other reasons ended up still being included in COVID-associated death counts.
So we asked the New Hampshire DHHS how it classifies COVID deaths. Its criteria is tighter. Only cases where someone tested positive for COVID-19 and it is listed as a direct or contributing cause of death on the death certificate is counted. So someone with COVID-19 who died from an unrelated cause is not included in the New Hampshire total.
I'm not clear on what qualifies as an unrelated cause. Because as more of these studies come out and examining people who have survived COVID, at least the initial infection, and are still dealing with ongoing health problems, you guys, COVID increases your chance of developing diabetes. There are new studies that indicate that COVID obviously causes blood clots, deep vein thrombosis, vascular problems. I mean, I guess that's the blood clots with your blood and pumping through your veins and your arteries and shit. Like, that shit is problematic. It's not just a respiratory illness, right? It definitely affects more than just your lungs and your ability to draw breath. Post-infection, right? Brain fog. I saw a study that really almost broke my heart when I read that it's a study that came out of Germany. And probably go to my Twitter page at Kim Brown Live, and I've got it on my timeline somewhere. But because COVID is an airborne virus, even if you're wearing a mask, your eyes are still a membrane, right? So the virus can pass into your eye, can pass into your body through your eyes, even if you have your nose and mouth covered. And what the study out of Germany found is that some people who are recovering from COVID started to find that the virus was replicating in their retina, in their retina, and possibly causing blood clots to the vessels that feed your retina, Now, guys, this has been causing, at least in some patients, some vision loss. This could potentially cause degenerative issues with your retina, And if you guys are not familiar with how the eye works, I know people, you hear about them getting like corneal transplants. Yeah, you can get your cornea transplanted, but ain't no retina transplant, pimp. That's not on the menu. They don't offer that as of yet. Your retina is not replaceable, nor is it repairable. And I can't speak again to what the likelihood of you really developing any of these, but it is estimated that between 10 and 30% of people who contract COVID will develop some symptom of long COVID. And that right now that's a cornucopia of things that I'm very certain that you do not want. And your people don't want it. And even your enemies do not want that shit. Sweet, real quick. Thank you, Shirley, for your super chat. Shirley says, in honor of our fearless mods, Chuck and Courtney. Shirley, does that mean, do we have some trowels? Are we being visited by some trolls? Did they come from under the bridge to say hello to the smart kids? Hello, trolls. Nice to see you guys. Thank you, Courtney and Chuck, for doing the damn thing out here. But y'all, I want us to take a look at how Canada is handling this, right? Canada, a more responsible America in very narrow instances, yes. So Canada, who has universal health care, Canada, who also dumb like America, has begun to lift a lot of its mitigation efforts in, provincial rules and national rules on indoor masking have been lifted. Canada has also diminished by a lot its rate of testing, okay? And what the Canadians are doing, since there's insufficient testing data, the Canadians are utilizing testing their wastewater to get a gauge on how pervasive the spread of COVID is. And I'm telling you guys, the Canadians are perplexed. Their leaders are not perplexed, but the Canadian citizenry seems to be a tad bit perplexed. All right, let's take a look at this package from the CBC. This was not even a day ago. I think this was actually posted to their YouTube account yesterday. So let's take a look at how concerned is Canada about the BA2 variant. Spoiler alert, pretty concerned. Let's take a look.
That's good. It was Pfizer last time as well.
Pfizer, yeah.
With more Ontarians now eligible to receive a fourth dose of COVID vaccine, some rushed in to get it right away.
We're in the middle of yet another spike.
The fast-spreading BA2 subvariant is driving most infections in Ontario, leading to a steady stream of positive rapid test results shared on social media.
Here in the pharmacy, we do tests, so I'm seeing every third or fourth test is coming up positive.
The pandemic's sixth wave is already crashing down on hospitals, with Toronto's biggest health network finding it hard to maintain staffing.
We're juggling a lot here, and our number one message is that this pandemic is not over.
Almost 800 staff are off sick in 2 health networks in Toronto alone, at a time when hospitals are struggling to work through a backlog in procedures.
We certainly are at the beginning stages of a wave here in Southern Ontario. Frankly, it's heartbreaking. We're all exhausted, myself included.
The steep rise in infections is leading some experts to call on the province to again make masks mandatory. And the health minister is showing some openness.
Should Dr. Moore change his views in the coming days, we will be making those changes as necessary.
That's Dr. Kieran Moore, Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, who's been out of sight for weeks, declining interview requests and providing no public guidance on the way out of this wave.
What I'm saying is that at least if we're not even trying to prevent the wave, we do as much as we can to mitigate it and reduce the suffering that's going to come from it. And masks are going to be part of what are going to do that.
With Ontario now estimated to be seeing more than 100,000 COVID cases a day, new modeling suggests the number of patients requiring hospital intensive care could keep climbing for a month. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
So, gang, if you think that BA2 is spreading largely unchecked in Southern Ontario, what do you think BA2 is doing in the US? I'm curious. Do you guys know people who have been newly infected with COVID? Do people even know they have the fucking COVID? Are people even able to go get tested for COVID without a whole lot of hoops to jump through? This is a very scary time that we're entering into, guys. COVID is not over. It's not over. Kids who are under 5 years old still cannot get vaccinated, okay? Shirley, thank you again for your super chat. Shirley ran us $5 more for Latif. She didn't mean to leave out Latif. Yes, so thank you so much for that, Shirley. But as y'all, I'm watching the Ketanji Brown Jackson thing today. Nobody had a mask on. At another White House event just the other day where Obama was this week, nobody was inside wearing masks. Nobody was inside wearing masks. The American position is that everybody should get COVID. That's the stance, okay? Even though they're not saying it aloud, that is the expectation. If you don't want to get COVID, then the onus is on you as an individual to take the necessary precautions, even though there are a number of people working in indoor settings. I've seen tweets from public school teachers who say that despite wearing N95 masks inside, with indoor masking mandates lifted in public schools, that some people are still contracting COVID despite always wearing a mask. So if you're the only person wearing a mask in an indoor setting where nobody else is wearing a mask, then your risk automatically has shot up. Now, compound that further if you are immunocompromised or you have a chronic illness. I guess they just don't, if you're immunocompromised or you have a chronic illness, I guess the solution is you just got to stay in the fucking house, huh? You got to wrap yourself up in bubble wrap to come be out in the public, okay? Because the United States government does not seemingly care if immunocompromised and people with chronic illnesses die of this virus. They don't care. And some theories, I can't even call them a conspiracy because we know who we're dealing with here, right? The original genociders, fuck gangster, OGs, original genociders is the U.S. colonizers, right? Inspired by the Europeans, and then the Europeans were further inspired by the Americans. It's like, oh, damn, y'all did that genocide tight as fuck, my nigga. We about to do that shit. We about to update that junk. The message being sent is that we don't care if we lose another 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, another million people. These people were weak. These people had underlying conditions. They were going to die anyway. Well, that's fucking bullshit, okay? Because people live very long, healthy, well, maybe not healthy, but they are able to manage their conditions for long stretches of time. There are people who are diabetics, been diabetics their whole life. There are people who are years living with cancer. I mean, let's not write off folks simply because they are sick that they must deserve to die. Their quality of life is not the same quality of that as a healthy person. The healthy person deserves to live. Well, take that fucked up logic. that is indeed fucked up logic. And apply that to healthy people. Healthy people themselves are absolutely succumbing to this virus, guys. So please let us not get run with the okie doke. Please, like I'm so afraid and so befuddled when I see folks very casually eating maskless in restaurants, going inside places where other people is in there with no mask. Why do y'all think, not y'all, of course, I know y'all got better sense than that, but why does the larger public seem to believe that we are past this? And it has everything to do with the messaging that we're receiving, both from the government and from business, that it is time to move on. And for a lot of us, we are not going to move on because A, COVID killed you, or B, COVID disabled you in some long form way. And the short-sightedness, although this doesn't surprise me because our healthcare system is garbage. I mean, grade A garbage, our healthcare system in terms of preventative care, et cetera. Our healthcare system is we're not concerned, number one, about the well-being of healthcare workers. They have been sounding the alarm for a good many years. And if we actually have this sixth wave take a hold to the point where ICUs are filling back up, where COVID wards are being reopened, we are seeing that in some places, we're going to drive away all of the good nurses, all of the good doctors. They're not going to want to take care of us because we are not trying to take care of ourselves. We're not taking care of ourselves. Lewis Kang, thank you, Luke Kang, for the super chat. Lewis Kang says, studies show that, oh, my nigga, come on. Studies show that when white people learned that COVID-19 had a disparate impact on black people, they checked out of public health measures. That explains a lot. Luke Kang, you saw the same study I did. Thank you so much for reminding me of that, because I saw that. I had to log off of Twitter when I saw that. I said, oh my gosh. The racist whites are comfortable with the fact that they got the smallpox inoculation, and they are okay if they give the rest of us smallpox contaminated blankets. They said we good. We can access the monoclonal antibodies. We got good insurance. The rest of y'all niggas, good luck, little buddies. Best of luck to you. I see you in here, Brenda. Thank you so much for still wearing your mask. Thank you so much for wearing your mask. And guys, don't let the government, don't let corporate America, don't let these people try to put the banana in your tailpipe, okay? Please protect yourself. Please protect your elders. Protect those who are immunocompromised and who have chronic conditions. Because the goal here is for everybody to get it, and whoever dies from it, dies from it. But the problem is our healthcare system is ill-equipped to deal with the undoubtedly, which is going to be millions of more newly disabled folks dealing with a myriad of different conditions, right? So what's the future look like for them? What's the future look like for a person who may have been otherwise healthy, contracted COVID, and now they require care that they otherwise didn't require? You got your long-term disability insurance paid up? You got your short-term disability insurance paid up? Probably not, because that shit is expensive, right? Oh, get me out of here, please, please. Any foreigners that we have, please, send me a message, because I am in search of matrimony, but only if it's in a foreign country for some citizenship. Please get me the fuck up out this goddamn country. My friends told me that I say that to them every day. I said, well, it's because I mean it, because I absolutely mean it. Real quick, guys, let me take a quick pause. I see Courtney Latifah and Chuck Diesel are encouraging you guys to get them likes up. So please, if you have not already liked today's show, do us that favor. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and follow us places around the internet. We are at BIDWKB on Instagram, on Facebook, at Burn It Down KB on Twitter. We're on TikTok as well, and we are over on Twitch. Shout out to Northern Witch on Twitch. We're getting a couple more people over there on Twitch. Come on, Twitch. Y'all need to step it up a little bit, at BIDWKB on Twitch. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can easily do so via Super Chat, which of course, Miss Shirley has already led the way, and Louis Kang. Thank you guys for your Super Chat support. But we are on Cash App, $ at BIDWKB, Venmo at BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB. And of course, we love our patrons, Patreon.com/BIDWKB, where you can get some exclusive content over there. So, moving along here in the program, guys. So yeah, Joe Biden said he don't care if y'all get COVID. That ain't his fucking problem. It ain't his fucking problem. If you get COVID, get your vaccine. Get your vaccine, nigga. Will we start getting these remixes of all these variants, and these variants start to outsmart the vaccine? Then what? Then what? But I digress. Of course, we are still riding high from the big Amazon Staten Island warehouse location victory, achieving the first ever in the United States, the first ever union of Amazon workers, and that's a big fucking deal. But your man's yours boy Joseph.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I keep pushing buttons on my phone because I have nervous hands. So I'm sitting here trying to be composed, and my hands are doing all the things underneath this desk. Not nasty things. Put them nasty thoughts back in your head. Doing things with the phone. Anyway, y'all's boy, Joseph Robinette Biden. Y'all know him. Had the audacity this week, in the wake of the Amazon labor union victory, to not only offer his support, but to, I guess, throw down the gauntlet to Jeff Bezos and Amazon. I take this as a very empty threat Joe Biden uttered this week. But if we could please take a look at that. Listen to what Joe Biden had to say about the Amazon labor union's tremendous victory at the Staten Island warehouse.
That's what unions are about, in my view, about providing dignity and respect for people who bust their neck. That's why I created the White House Task Force on Worker Organization Empowerment, to make sure the choice to join a union belongs to workers alone. And by the way, Amazon, here we come. Watch.
Who is we, bro? Who is me? And where we going? Here, Amazon, here we come. Who is we? And when are we coming there? So Biden talked about the formation of the White House Task Force on promoting worker and organizing and collective bargaining. Okay, now this is something that his White House set up 2021. And they released a report in February of this year. It's going to be C3, Tunde. C3, please. So what's interesting about this report, of course, about what Joe Biden just said, is if he is throwing down the gauntlet. I'm telling Jeff Bezos, he better listen or else. Or else what, nigga? There's more taxes you not going to charge Amazon and Jeff Bezos? Amazon still gets to pay no taxes? Like, what exactly do you plan on doing here, Joe Biden? So, the White House Task Force on Worker Organizing and Empowerment, they released their report February of this year, so just actually a few short weeks ago. And what they outlined 70 total recommendations, but these are the ones that they decided to highlight. So let me read them to you quickly. Ensuring workers know their organizing and bargaining rights, right? This is one of the priorities that this task force is to do, to ensure that workers know their organizing and bargaining rights, to protect workers who face illegal retaliation when they organize and stand up in the workplace for rights, establishing a resource center on unions and collective bargaining, shedding light. Yeah, this is one of the recommendations, to shedding light on employers' use of anti-union consultants. How are we going to shed that light, Joseph? Collecting and reporting more information on unions and their role in the U.S. economy, advancing equity across underserved communities by supporting worker organizing and collective bargaining. How do they intend to do that? That's not exactly clear. That is not exactly clear. And in what is, basic, I guess, government parlance, it is very paltry, shall we say, on specifics. Okay, these are just recommendations, by the way. And I suppose who's the Secretary of Labor? Is that Marty Walsh? Former Mayor Marty Walsh of Boston? Marty from Boston. Now, again, Marty Walsh and Joe Biden really come across as those blue collar, everyday working white men. Right? That's the working, the white working class that they refer to, Biden. And I know Biden historically has supported unions, but I didn't hear Joe Biden say anything about the Amazon organization effort at all. Not until this week. He hadn't said anything about it. I know Jen Psaki, when the UAW workers were striking several weeks ago, she was asked, she answered, she said the Biden administration stands in support of unions and workers taking action, sure. But all of this don't mean nothing. This doesn't mean a hill of beans, especially in the face of what we've seen lately, examples that we have talked about right here on the show, where workers trying to organize their workplaces have been blatantly retaliated against. And the U.S. government has rendered itself toothless in trying to collect, so to speak, any of these companies. Who just ran us some bucks? Hey, Kiani, thank you so much. Kiani, thank you so much for your super chat. We appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want you guys to look at this tweet, okay? This tweet, it's going to be C2 Tunde. This was sent out by none other than Kim Kelly, Grim Kim. Kim Kelly has a new book coming out, guys, soon that I would like for you to check out. It's called Fight Like Hell, where she talks about the history of unions and organizing in this country. I'm very excited about that. Kim Kelly's going to be back on the show when her book comes out. I'm so excited. She's pretty dope. This is what she tweeted out, some breaking news, okay? The RWDSU has filed 21 National Labor Relations Board objections over Amazon's conduct during the Bessemer, Alabama union election, charging that Amazon interfered with workers' right to vote in a free and fair election. The union has requested a hearing over these charges and the 416 challenged ballots. Now, if you guys remember last week, we were keeping an eye loosely, because there's a lot of shit happening last week, right? Staten Island was happening, the roastery, the Starbucks roastery location in Manhattan, won their election. But we were watching loosely what was going on in Bessemer, because as you know, Bessemer is in the middle of their second attempt, their second election, their second attempts to unionize at that location. The first attempt failed, but then the National Labor Relations Board got with Amazon's ass, I guess on paper. I guess that's the only way they can get with Amazon is write them niggas up, right? That's all they do. Amazon, we're gonna write you up for doing some illegal union busting shit. And Amazon's like, okay, fuck it, okay, nigga, write us up. Jeff Bezos made $270 million today. So what we care about getting wrote up? They don't give a fuck about getting wrote up. So, but the National Labor Relations Board wrote them niggas up. And that's about what happened. Wrote them up for definitely playing very dirty in the first election. So the second Bessemer election, the votes were being counted, but as you see, there are over 400 votes being challenged. And this is going to be interesting because I'm pretty confident, not certain, but I'm confident that Bessemer probably got them votes, y'all. I think Bessemer probably got it done. I think Bessemer got it done. And even if Bessemer was not able to secure a union at the warehouse this time around, because it's very clear that Amazon was cheating once again. Sometimes these things take multiple attempts before they finally take, right? So even if the Bessemer workers are not able to secure a victory for this second election, it's clear that Amazon is already fucked around and they're gonna find out. So if a third election is required, I think that's going to be the one if this one is in fact not successful. Luke Kang, why are you writing me more money? I mean, not that I'm mad, I'm just surprised. Lewis King says, unless Little Robert Ed is talking about busting police unions and creating a wave of gig work unions, I don't want to hear his guns flapping. Throw tomatoes all at that nigga Luke Kang. Throw him right at his face. Now, did y'all see Biden at the White House gathering? I don't know what the fuck. Oh, that's right. Obama came back to pat himself on the back for 12 years of the ACA, right? Okay, nigga. Okay. And then they showed the clip of Biden just sort of meandering around, talking to the flag. It's like, how long are we going to keep this up? How long are we going to have a presidency of Weekend at Bernie's? I mean, we're going to do this for 2 more years and then another 4 years? Nigga, please. I don't think Biden's got enough gas in the tank to do out this first term, but that is a whole nother story. So Biden got tough talk for Amazon. Amazon keeps overstepping, right? Doing illegal shit. And all the Biden administration could do is write them niggas up. Write them up. That's all he can do is write them up. They don't get suspended. They don't get, suspended without pay. I'm just trying to think of all the times I have been written up myself, right? So, but at the end of the day, what's that write-up mean for somebody like Jeff Bezos or for a corporation like Amazon? It don't mean a fucking thing. And Joe Biden can sit there and pat himself on the back. And yeah, I created this White House task force on organizing where one of our stated goals is to shed light, on workers' rights. Really? Well, I think there's plenty of Gen Zers and active labor unions out here that are doing enough light shedding. So exactly tell me, what the fuck is the federal government going to do to support workers, to support unions, and to support workers in the workplace who are being openly and blatantly retaliated against? I don't know what the consequence is for retaliation. My guess is nothing, unless you bring some sort of civil action, either in the form of a civil suit, or if you go to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC, and file a complaint, which can help open the doors for you to eventually sue your employer or your former employer. So if they are found to have retaliated against you, that just, I guess, goes to evidence. But the process of trying to sue your employer or former employer for discrimination is a very arduous one. Good luck getting an attorney to work, what's the shit called when the attorney take his cut at the end? To do that shit, right? Some attorneys go want they bread up front. because they may not think that you have a very lucrative case. Doesn't mean that you weren't discriminated against. Just means that the lawyer may not be certain they can exact a big enough settlement for you that it will be worth their time. So fuck off, Joe Biden. I want to move along. Speaking of fuck off, Joe Biden, let's talk about some more workers that Joe Biden is not supporting. The Starbucks workers, guys, Starbucks, cold kicking ass. The Starbucks workers union, that is, doing outstanding things out here. And these Starbucks stores are falling like dominoes, kids. Check this out. Reported by More Perfect Union. I think this was on yesterday. Breaking news, the Starbucks Workers Union wins 3 out of 3 elections today, a clean sweep. Workers at the Brighton, does it say Brighton? Yes, it does. Workers at the Brighton, Monroe, and Clover store in Rochester, New York won 10-3. That now is 13 Starbucks stores have been successfully unionized, and nearly 200 stores have filed for elections, y'all. 200 stores have filed for elections. That is a big FD. That is a big fucking deal. And I am, Courtney, you can't send us money. Courtney, you work here. Courtney works here. Courtney sent us her ties. Oh, that is so kind to you, Courtney. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you so much. What you say, Courtney? The bitch down. We help burn the bitch down. I said, hold what bitch down, Courtney? Who we holding down? She said, burn the bitch down. Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate that so much. So where was I? Starbucks. Okay, so Starbucks, again, 13 Starbucks stores have unionized in the past 4 months. It may even be shorter than that. Maybe the past 3 months. That is a BFD. Big fucking deal. So, but we are still actually counting the votes for the Starbucks location in Scottsdale, where this week, 19-year-old Starbucks partner and organizer Layla Dalton was fired. Okay, now Layla, she describes herself as a woman of color. We're actually going to hear from Layla. She looked like a black chick to me. She retweeted her father on her Twitter timeline, who is a former NFL player, and I'm sorry his name escapes me at the moment, but he was definitely black. So, I don't think she'd get mad if I called her a black woman, even though she says woman of color, but I'm going to say she black. Your daddy black? Black enough. Let's take a look, actually. So these clips that we're about to see here, guys, and let me give a content warning for the very first clip that we're going to see, because did I not put that on there, Tunde? Yes, I did. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, okay, I did. Just double checking because I wrote it different. But anyway, so Layla has been working at Starbucks for 3 years, okay? She's 19. She's been working there since she was 16 years old, okay? If you have ever been a teen worker, if you work any place longer than a year, it's actually very impressive, right, for a teenager to maintain a job at the same place for that duration of time. So that just goes to show you that obviously Layla is very responsible. She has to be a good employee. How else would she have remained there for 3 years, okay? But a few weeks ago, out of the blue, now Layla has been organizing her coworkers because she wants better working conditions, better wages, like most workers, right? She began organizing her coworkers, and then all of a sudden, the management at her store pulled her aside, and in one single day, they presented Layla with 6 months worth of performance issues, okay? Things that they had not previously brought up to her, okay? And the first clip that we're going to see is a video that Layla filmed herself while she was being interrogated by Starbucks management. And the reason I give a content warning is because she's very emotional. She is crying. And for those of us who have been in Layla's position, who have been a young black girl advocating for yourself while white people are white peopling at a very high level in your face about the rules and shit, rules that they ass don't fucking follow at all. And then all of a sudden, it's no, Kim, there's new rules for you. What? Anyway, so I have to give myself a bit of a content warning on that. So that's the first clip we're going to see is of Layla recording herself in this meeting with her managers. The second clip we're going to see is Layla's TikTok, where she gives some clarity about the previous clip, let's put it that way. And the final clip is going to be the response that her community had once finding out that Layla had been fired from her job at Starbucks. Let me just say, the people showed up outside of that Starbucks and made the managers go hide. So let's take a look at Layla Dalton, 19-year-old organizer, all around badass, Gen Z stand up. I think Gen Z might save us all out here, but a content warning, she is going to be very upset in this first clip. So I just want you guys to prepare yourself for that. Let's take a look.
Right now, because you're disrespect. I've been here for 3 years, and no one communicated any of this with. I have shared with you. Okay, no. We have you never came to me and said I'm gonna get this on a documentation. You never said that. You said okay, you should not have did this. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was upset, and I'm not gonna do that again. And then you throw this whole thing. I'm putting all this stuff when you never said, oh, that's gonna go in the corrective action form. You should tell me those things, or someone should communicate
I
these.
hear that. That's not typically how we approach the job, to say I am going to give you a corrective action.
No, but I'm saying that
because it
if
evokes
there's all
this emotion, right?
If it's all these things, no one has talked to me about anything majorly about the note. You never told me that note, when I was in the hospital, and then I couldn't come in. You never said, oh, that's gonna be a call out, and you're gonna get in trouble.
The problem is not that you were in the hospital, Layla. We want you to be healthy.
But it was last minute, and I can't find coverage. I'm so sorry, I can't find coverage though, and I'm sick.
And we're happy to help you with finding coverage.
But you're putting it on here when I was in the hospital. You guys have to put it.
The issue is not with the fact that you were sick and in the hospital. The issue was with the fact that you didn't follow the appropriate process when you are aware that you're not going to show up for your
I wasn't. It was 4 in.the.morning. I felt sick at 4 in.the.morning, and I wasn't on my phone for the rest of the day. I felt so sick and pain. My mom was taking care of me. How am I supposed to call the store when I'm sick? How do I do that? I don't understand how I call the store when I'm sick. You guys are expecting me to put my health after.
No, absolutely not.
No, then this should not be on here.
Okay, and we can take a look at that. We can. If that's even not on there still, Layla, there's still a lot of content on there that we need to talk about.
You never told me that you said about this a warning and said you can't do this. Why is that going to be listed on here? You guys are out to get me. It's what it feels like. Well,
I don't want you to feel like
well,
that.
that's what it feels like. Because you would.
Can I take this for a second? I would like for us to go through it, because regardless of whether.
No, I can't. Because I worked too hard to deserve
to
this.
get up and walk away at any point.
I don't really use TikTok, but More Perfect Union said that they posted, so I was like, let me check it out. I saw the comments and I realized that not everyone knew the full story, I guess you could say. And I say this because it seems like not everyone has seen the entire video from More Perfect Union, so I'm gonna clear up the air. So every store that's trying to unionize is going through some form of retaliation. But every store goes through different types of retaliation. Sadly, my store is kind of pinpointing the retaliation just towards me. I have gotten a whole page of write-ups, and now this was my second write-up. No one else has gotten write-ups, and no one else has gotten warned about these things. Neither have I. I got warned the other day, or the day before they gave me this, or 2 days before, and I never did it, again. Therefore, I say this is aimed at me because I'm not just union, but I'm also a woman of color.
Reinstate! 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 Reinstate Layla! Reinstate Layla! Reinstate Layla! Reinstate Layla! Reinstate Layla! Reinstate Layla! Reinstate Layla!
Reinstate Layla! Reinstate Layla! Guys, did you see the second clip when she was talking directly to the camera? Did you see how beat down that young woman is emotionally, mentally, probably even physically? As she talked about in the first clip, she had to be hospitalized because she was sick. The absolute ghoulishness of a corporation to target a teenager for retaliation to inflict intentional stress and inflict intentional harm, to totally disregard this young woman's emotional well-being. I know it's not shocking to any of us who are of a certain age and have been working for a long time. We know that these companies don't give a fuck about us, but I think they done fucked up now because, to lesser extents or even greater extents, depending on your perspective, previous generations before Gen Z have been beaten down mentally, right? Speaking as a Gen Xer, now fellow Gen Xers, y'all can correct me and say, shut the fuck up, Kim, you only talking for you. But I know that we were largely disincentivized from speaking up, from advocating, like, no, shh, how you got to keep this job now. Like, yeah, you don't to talk bad about you, that you caused trouble or you stirred things up, because don't you want to be able to get another job? Nigga, not if they gonna treat me like that. Not if they not gonna pay me. Not if they not gonna provide good working conditions under which I can thrive. I think that Generation Z is about to reframe and reshape the way that Americans are going to be treated in the workplace. Because I think that when you look at how Layla was despondent, really, about the way, I mean, who the fuck, and I'm assuming they white because they sounded white. They didn't have to be white, but I'm going to assume that they was white. Did you hear them Karens talking to her? I have been spoken that way by Karens in management. And like Comrade Kwame said in the comments, these organic organizers is better than me because I would have wanted to slap the piss out of their mouth. Shorty, I was feeling that fury. I was feeling that fury. But anyway, back to Gen Z. Gen Z is not with the shit, y'all. They are not with that bullshit, but they are with that other shit, right? And I think the radicalization of this generation in particular is good. They're going to free us all. I believe that. I really do. That's why I am so in support of what young folks are out here doing, period, point blank, on the job, in the streets. I am with the shits. Young people, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help, okay? Because y'all are not as conditioned nor as mentally worn down as the rest of us, right? I want to help. What can I do to help the youths to burn this fucking country down? Because Gen Z is ready to do it. Gen Z is ready to do it. Not to say that we didn't peep the exploitation game, that we understand. I mean, shit, we are the internship generation, right? Even boomers, I think, got paid for their internship. It was Gen X that they were determined to exploit all of our labor, right? And not to say that I didn't recognize it when it was happening. I just felt powerless to do anything about it. This is the system. This is what you have to do to get ahead. You have to, as a poor person, right, you have to exchange your free labor in order to get experience. Don't you want experience? Don't you want to build your resume? No, bitch, I want to pay my fucking bills. I want to survive. I don't give a fuck about building my resume if I can't fucking eat and keep a roof over my head. What the fuck is building my resume gonna do for me in the future if I'm couch surfing right goddamn now, right? I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. But anyway, Gen Z has peep game early. Gen Z has seen, I would imagine, perhaps their Generation X parents go to jobs that they absolutely hate, jobs that if they are women or non-white men on the job, jobs that they see their parents routinely experience discrimination against. They see their parents in this endless student loan debt chasm that many of us find ourselves in. Generation Z ain't with the shit. Generation Z said, no, I'm not signing my life over to indentured servitude, to slave wages, no benefits, no health care, no opportunities to be able to purchase a home and do the things that is sold to us as the American dream. Gen Z ain't gonna go for it, y'all. And you know what I say? I say we follow behind Gen Z because the courageousness displayed by Layla, 19 years old, you guys, she is organizing her store. This is historic shit that is happening right now. Starbucks is going to be made to bend to the will of its workers. I believe this. I believe that people are going to be experiencing higher wages coming down the pike. I don't think Starbucks is going to be able to prevent the unionization of all 200 stores that have shown interest. Same thing with Amazon. The writing is on the wall for these companies to do something else, or Gen Z said, we're not working for you guys. We just not going to do it. We're not going to do it. And I am with that. I think Gen Z is going to be the ones to actually lead the general strike. I think us older folks is a little too concerned about other shit, right? We too concerned about now I won't even call it trivial, because everyday life and surviving and taking care of yourself and your family is not trivial at all. But in the scheme of things, you guys, a big shift must happen. And if we have to sacrifice whatever consequences come for us refusing to go to work for a week to make a general strike actually be felt by corporate America and the capitalist powers, I mean, we just gonna have to do that, y'all. We just gonna have to do that. And I don't know if we're gonna have to support each other with mutual aid, with support funds, or we're just gonna have to show up when the sheriffs come and try to evict our people. We stand out in the streets, we stand in front of the door, and we say no. You can't support, you cannot evict our neighbors. You cannot evict our family members from their homes, because where else will they go? So I think it's really going to be integral that we have to identify ways in which that we are able to sacrifice and to provide support for each other. Because I feel as though the fissures are here, the cracks are beginning to form in the foundation of the empire. I mean, you give this bitch a real good hit, this motherfucker may fall down, y'all. So y'all ready to give it a real good hit? I'm ready to give it a real good hit. Everybody check your calendars. I'm trying to figure out when would be a good day for us to do the general strike. As if I am organizing it right here all by myself. I'm thinking September. Let's let folks get their summer vacations in. It's been a rough 2 years. People want to do things with their family safely, I'm imagining. But I think you can really make them feel it when schools go back, right? When the teachers stay home and strike, when the truck drivers stay home and strike, when the rail workers stay home and strike, when the baristas stay home and strike. Yeah, I think this is doable. I'm feeling like 2022 is a good year for a general strike. So everybody check your calendars. Check your calendars. See when it's good for you. Check with your partners and etc. Explain to the children what's happening. I bet you the kids gonna be with it. They're gonna want to make signs and all kinds of shit. This is doable, y'all. Follow the real organizers who are talking about this and putting this together. I'm just here to help amplify the message. You guys know I am not an organizer, I'm not a lecturer, not an author, none of that shit. I'm just a broadcaster who gives a fuck, who cares, okay? Care about black people first, black women first and foremost, and everybody else falls in what they do. but I got love for everybody, though. Y'all already know this, okay? Anyway, guys. Oh, come on. Here we go. Quaker Anarchist, come through, Quaker Anarchist. We love you, by the way. Quaker Anarchist says, "Oh, Kim, we have educational event on Labor Day that includes about the general strike. We are doing promotionals starting in a couple of weeks, guys. Follow Quaker Socialist on social media. Quaker Socialist actually posts incredible information, and I'm very excited to hear that, Quaker Socialist. So shit, maybe we got to get you on here, Quaker Socialist or Anarchist, and let's talk about this shit. Let's get this general strike popping off. If we already promoting right now in April, which is extremely smart. Get the word out in advance, people. Yeah, let's do this, y'all. Put it on your calendar. What's going on, Tay? Come on, Holly Horn. What's going on, Esther? Who else we got here? Kiani and Courtney. There was somebody else in here that is one of my people. Schultze 100. What's going on with you, Schultze? Guys, that's the show. Okay, we're good for tonight. Join us Monday night, 5 p.m. Not on the channel. It's going to be on Zoom for the first ever Fire Fam Disability Support Chat. Anna Hart, God bless Anna. Anna is helping me put this together. It is the Zoom link is already up on Patreon right now, and a couple of people have reached out to me directly on other social media platforms about getting the Zoom link, and I will get that to you this weekend if you have not already received it. But do this: if you want to participate and you're not a patron, hit me up on social media at Kim Brown Live. On Twitter is what I prefer, because I get a lot of fucking random ass shit in my Instagram DM, and nigga, and I don't be checking that shit because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't be checking that shit. So Twitter is probably the best bet, or you can find the Gmail on the channel and reach out to me directly, and I will provide you with the link. But this is going to be 5 p.m. Eastern time. keep your expectations low because I have not ever participated in such a thing. But my guess is that whoever wants to speak can speak about your condition, about, if you have a family member who is disabled, etc. You could talk about that condition and talk about, I guess, the ways in which maybe you are dealing with inaccessibility or ableism, or just, just want to vent. I'm here for all that. So come hang out Monday night. Check the link, and I will see you guys back here on Tuesday for the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, as already previously stated in the program. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Tunde. So next week, guys, can I tell them your news? I mean, I won't be specific, but well, Tunde got a job, you guys. So put some flame emojis and put your hands together for Tunde getting a gig. So because next week is Tunde's first week on the job, we can't do 5 o'clock next week. So we're going to push the show time next Tuesday and Friday to 8 p.m. 8 p.m. show time. And we'll get the information and shit up so you can set your notifications and your alarm bells, etc. So next week, guys, do not look for Burn It Down with Kim Brown at our regular time at 5. Join us a little bit later in the evening at 8 o'clock next Tuesday and Friday. And like I said already, COVID is out here, very much so jumping on people. We're in the 6th wave. You're welcome. So do what you got to do. Please protect yourself. Wear your masks indoors. Just please stay safe out here, guys. And again, this show does not happen without Tunde and Molly. So thank you to Tunde and Molly. And on behalf of Tunde and Molly, we will see you guys next week, y'all. See y'all later. Bye-bye.